Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Pretty Focus Roadmap. We have another grad interview for you today. Every month, we interview two grads, and they share their experience with their business, what that looks like, how they set it up. They kind of give you some. I always learn a lot from all of our grads about their business, and it's just so unique to just hear how everyone has set it up, and everybody has taken what they've learned in Pretty Focus and they've made it their own. And today we are talking with Amy, and the reason why we have our grad interview in the morning versus evening is because Amy is joining us from London, and we have students from all over the world, and London included. And Amy, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, hello everybody. First of all, I am a mum of three. I've got two much older children, so they are 23 and 24. And I also have a 10-year-old, married to Justin, live close to London, in the city. And I have been working in this industry for a number of years now. And my life completely changed when I joined Pretty Focus. So I can't wait to talk to you about all of that. And it's just been an absolute whirlwind.
Yeah. You did editorial photography. It's kind of
Yeah.
out there because that's what we titled this thing. It was kind of really
Yeah.
why you left editorial,
Oh,
because a
yeah.
lot of people think like, I've made it, like I'm working for magazines, I've made it, right?
Yes.
And for a lot of people, if that's your goal, that's what you want, that's fine.
Yeah.
Everybody has different goals, everybody has a different version of success, but it's always so interesting though, because you hear that and you think, oh, that person has made it, you know.
Yeah.
But why don't you tell us a little bit about that and what you were doing, like before Pretty Focus, before you'd even heard about Pretty Focus? Tell us about that.
Yeah. So my journey started. I had my children when I was quite young, and I did Open University. I did multimedia journalism, and I kind of fell into photography. I'd always been really interested in photography, and I just sort of, fell into it and got to know some people and worked with some people, and was quite lucky, with getting photography gigs. And I completely understand what you mean, that you feel like you've made it when you see your work in print. And I imagine it's exactly the same for a writer or a novelist, and it is an absolutely amazing feeling. And I've worked with a lot of brands as well. And yes, you do often get your name in print, but very often you don't get your name in print because there's a whole team of people. You might be working as a stylist and a photographer, or just a stylist or a photographer, or hanging around on, a set and stuff like that. So it's not as glamorous as it
Mhm.
might seem, and it's a real
Mm.
slog. It's really, really hard, and you don't necessarily always get the gig. So it's, money can be hit and miss. At that time, I did start a food blog as well, because I was like, I'm going to be a food blogger. That's really hard.
Yeah.
I just don't know how they do it.
Mhm.
And I did manage to kind of get some things through the blog, but oh my gosh, Melody, the work involved. And I remember I always used to say to my husband, do you know what? I could just take photographs all day long. I love this. I'm a creative person. This is all I want to do. But actually, if you've got a blog or something like that, you've got to do all the writing and the social media
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
much. So yeah, that kind of quickly went away. But that was I started to realize then that bloggers didn't always take their own photographs. So I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I could maybe sell some of my photographs to bloggers. So I started out in those like VA groups.
Mhm.
And I remember writing down, oh, this is how much money I can make, and I was selling for a certain amount. And I thought that was absolutely incredible. And then I came across Pretty Focused and I was like, oh, they are making so much money. They are so professional. How do I get in on this? And it all completely snowballed from there.
Oh my gosh. So
Yeah.
so when you were like even in those other VA groups, like the what you would have made from that, just because it's probably more consistent than like shooting for magazines, right?
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
how often would that work come along?
What, like magazine work?
Yeah, yeah.
Or maybe you might get 1 or 2 days a week, but then I would have to go from where I live on the train into London. It's not easy getting into London. It's a pain. You're gone for the whole entire day. Childcare is a absolutely massive issue. At this point, I think our youngest daughter was probably, I mean, she was really little and I was having to
Yeah.
leave her. Um, and it was really hard, and it's just such long days. And here in the UK, it's not, the weather's not amazing. So you're getting up and it's dark and you're getting home and it's dark, and it's just hard on everybody. Such long
Yeah.
days. So I was
Oh,
like, something's got to give, I need to find a way out of this.
yeah.
And
And did those
yeah,
jobs pay well?
the day rates for photographers are good. So I mean, I think it depends on what team you're working with. Yes, you
Okay.
can make good money, but if you're only doing it once a week, then it's just average money. There are photographers that are completely London based, but because I'm not in London,
Right. You are just outside of London,
yeah,
so yeah.
yeah. So that makes things more difficult, and also is very competitive. And people will
Yeah.
just use the same people over and over again. And I can completely understand that as well. So
Yeah, I just how do you even go about, like, getting the gigs? Did you work with, like, an agent who kind of helped you and connected you with people? How
um
did you have to pitch yourself? What did you do?
yeah, I did a lot of pitching, and then you pick up regular clients. So I did loads of work with a gin company here in the UK, loads of work for their magazines, cocktail stuff, which I absolutely love to do.
Yeah, you're
And
so
I
good
was,
at it.
well, thanks. It's my favorite thing. But I was actually able to do that from home during COVID.
Okay.
So that was a really good thing and I love doing that. And BBC Good Food, Delicious Magazine, and so many different brands and stuff like that. But it is you have to put yourself out there and pitch and you know, I tried selling stock photography at one point, and the money for that is just dreadful. It's really, really low. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it is.
it's very. I was so surprised, and they're
Which
very
is like what, a
quick.
couple of dollars a photo or
Yeah,
something?
yeah,
Super
yeah,
cheap.
yeah. But
Wow.
you know, there's people out there that have that as their whole entire business model, and it
Yeah.
works for them. But yeah, I
But
always found it just so. It always made me so uneasy. You know, it was very, very inconsistent.
yeah.
Until I decided
Yeah.
to make my own rules. And that's the other thing as well about working. I personally, I sell exclusives. I don't do recreations. So
Mhm.
I love that I can just be like, what am I going to make this week? Is it going to be a cocktail? Is it going to be cupcakes? You know, and you sell it and it's done. Whereas if you're working with a brand or a magazine, it's just not as easy as that, because you are somebody else is telling you what to do, and they might not like
Right. Well, you've even talked about how, like, if you had to do a reshoot for
it. Yeah,
brands, I mean, then you get that's not just as simple
yeah,
as it's not as simple as it sounds, right? I mean, it's a
no,
whole other trip into the city. It's all of that.
yeah,
Um, and so I think that's so interesting. I mean, here you are, you've worked with all of these, reputable brands in your area,
yeah.
from the UK. Again, you have this, well, she's made it. She's at the top. And so to hear that you've shifted now to working for food bloggers, and you're saying that you have so much freedom
Oh
and
yeah,
so much flexibility,
yeah.
and it's like, do you feel like you're like, okay, no, now I've made it?
Oh, absolutely. Because honestly, it's crazy when you think that you can completely work from home. And okay, I do take over half the house with all my stuff, because you know I
Well,
have a lot of stuff I've accumulated over the years. But the biggest thing for me is that I can meet up with my older children. I can drop Rose to school. We can go for breakfast. I can go watch Rose if she's got a hockey game or something like that. You know, I can be at home during the holidays. So right now, my older two don't go to school or university because they're that much older, but Rose is on school holidays. She broke up from school on the 6th of July, and I haven't worked since then. I've just been having loads of fun with her. Like, she's having the sleepover tonight. And I don't have to work at the moment because I know I've got people there waiting for me when I go back. You know, I put an announcement in my group. I was like, guys, I am going to be off for a few weeks. I'll be back in August. And, you know, I can do that now because I know where the next paycheck is coming from. I just have to do the work in order to get paid.
right. And those people are just waiting for you. What would have happened if you well, they're just waiting for they're just like, "Oh, okay, she'll be back and I'll buy her stuff whenever she's back." But
Yeah.
what would have happened if you would have done that, like, with editorial magazine work? Be like, "Guys, I'm
Somebody
taking
else.
3 weeks off."
Yeah, yeah, somebody else would get the job, wouldn't they? And then they'd just keep using them. So
Yeah.
somebody else would have done it.
Hmm.
So, and yeah,
Wow.
yeah, yeah,
Wow. I just love that perspective. I love it, because I mean, I think that's ultimately what people want. That's what we just hear so much from people is they want to be able to work at home. They want that freedom. They
yeah,
want that flexibility. And you're not the first person to come to Pretty Focus that has had experience. Like, we talked with Fabiana. She's an award-winning photographer
yeah.
with the Professional Photographers of America Association, like
I
the top
know,
photography, like,
I know.
association in America. And
Yeah,
she's like, I want to join Pretty Focus because she's like wanting to expand. She's like, she just loves that creativity. She's now started her own food blog, and or she's partnered with a blogger on that. And I just think it's so incredible because then we have this somebody who is so incredibly talented, so incredibly gifted. You've been in the industry, you've done it. And then I got an email from a new grad who 5 months ago, she'd never picked up her camera before.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's crazy. But
Yes.
it's honestly, I watched Fabiana's interview back,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought it was so interesting that she said, you're almost in a better situation if you've never picked up a camera before. Because, and I get that. I can understand,
Yeah.
because I have done, over the years, I've done other photography things. When I thought I was going to be, getting into blogging, I did courses and stuff and other, photography
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And nobody is telling you, like, nobody told me what bloggers actually want. So I came into Pretty Focus thinking, well, I can take a gorgeous photo, but it's just not, that is not it. It's really, yeah, okay, you can take beautiful photographs, but there's so much more. And nobody ever told me, and even when I had my own blog, like, somebody could have told me because I didn't know.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
true because there is a specific style. I mean, it's not just photos. I mean, yeah, but there's like strategy behind why
yes,
we take photos the way that we do.
yeah,
Making sure that you've got ingredient shots, your process shots are set up in a
yeah,
specific way so it's easier for collaging.
yeah,
Making sure that you have a variety of heroes. I mean, there's so
yeah,
much to it, and it's all of those
yeah,
things that make bloggers go, I want to hire a Pretty Focused grad because I know I'm going to get what I need.
yeah,
And I've
totally.
told the story before where I had somebody email me and they're like, can I just get into the buyers club? I've been working with a blogger for, a while now. Here's some of my work. And I looked at her work and I was like, she sent me the same photo 6 different
Yeah,
times with 6 different aspect
yeah,
ratios. And I was thinking that poor blogger doesn't know what she's missing out on,
yeah,
right? Because the photo is
right.
beautiful, but it was
But
lacking all of the things that it was lacking, all of the angles, the
yeah,
variations. Like, where's your spoon shot? Where's your, like, you just literally sent me a bowl of chili, but I need to
yeah,
see it garnished. I need to see it ungarnished. I need to see it with a spoon in there from overhead from 45. I need the scoop shot of like that was missing. And,
yeah.
that is a really, really big thing. So whenever I hear
Huge.
other people saying like, can I just join? I'm like, no, you can't.
No. Well, no, it just wouldn't work. And as well, I never, this is going to sound ridiculous, but the recipe execution thing, because that's such a huge deal. If you work in editorial photography and you're going to, put shaving foam on top of stuff, and I mean,
Right.
we didn't do a
Motor
lot of that,
oil.
but there are some things like, mashed potato for ice cream and stuff like that. And then, okay, the photograph is absolutely gorgeous, but how does it taste? Does the recipe actually work? That
Mm-hmm.
is like huge, 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 huge. And I did not realize just how important that was, because your bloggers are going to come back to you if you are absolutely amazing at developing recipes as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. I
huge.
mean, there's a lot of like, and we don't teach how to use mashed potatoes for ice cream or
Oh
motor
gosh,
oil, or we might use like people might share how to use toothpicks to prop things up, or
yeah,
sticky tack to keep things from rolling around on the board. That's about it as much as it gets, because there's also, I even know whenever it comes to editorial photography, there's like legal rules around what you can use for ice cream, because the food needs to look real. It's like the McDonald's and the Burger King, like what you
Yes.
see and then what you get is so different, and it's so annoying. But what
Yeah.
we do is that we are actually making the food look that good because we executed the recipe that good,
Yeah.
right? Because we
Yeah.
executed it that well, and we're not having to do fake things to it
No,
to make
it
it look
already
better.
looks
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's something a lot of people, which is really big too. It's one of the things our coaches coach to is recipe execution. Be like, I think that needs a little bit of work. As you know, you're a
Yeah.
coach, Amy. So
I am. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
we absolutely love having you as a coach.
Thank you.
It's the best. Like you're the best. We love it.
Thank you. I
So
love
tell
all
me,
of you.
like, love it. Um, so what were some challenges for somebody who's been a photographer and who's been a successful photographer? What were some challenges that you faced going through Pretty Focused?
I think having to rein in the desire to be very editorial was hard for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you have to get to a point where you realize that you're going to make more money if you just get on with stuff. I'm like a massive faffer, and I know Redonda would say exactly the same. Like, she is my BFF. We are like peas in a pod.
I love it.
It's hilarious. Because I do faff, and I am slow. So getting out of, the an editorial style is not the be all and end all for a blogger. A blogger wants those money shots where the food just looks
Yeah.
irresistible. They want the bite shot and the drizzle of the syrup on the
Mm-hmm.
pancakes. So just getting into the mindset of tutorial based photography was
Mm-hmm.
the hardest thing.
Yeah. That's more, it's what you're referring to is more of a scene focused, right? With that, the
Yeah.
editorial and making sure every little detail is perfect. But really what we teach is tutorial based, and it's food based. It's like food focused photography where you can see really the yumminess, because that's really what bloggers are going to be concerned with more, is that the
Yeah.
food looks yummy and you got the drip shots and you got the bite shots. They are concerned about that more than they are with making sure every little piece of
Yeah.
extra thing is styled well, right? And
Yeah.
so that's not to say that a lot of bloggers still don't care about that, because gosh knows that composition and styling are really important skills to making food look really great.
Definitely.
Um,
Yeah.
but it's the priority for bloggers is making sure that the food just really stands out from the rest. I think Redonda calls it like, what did we say, Redonda? It's like supporting role. You got the main star and you got like the supporting role. And so I think she's in the comments. Redonda's in the comments. So she always comes up with like these little phrases,
She
for
does.
everything.
She's very good at alliteration as well. She's
Yes. Yeah, she is. And so I think that's one thing that's really different about Pretty Focus, is making sure that the food really stands out.
Yeah.
Um, so when you graduated, what was it like when you graduated? How quickly were you able to start working with clients? Like, tell us a little bit about that.
So it took me about 4 months to work my way through the course and the practice sessions, and I graduated in the January of 2022, and I sold my entire portfolio the day I graduated, so I made all my money back and then
Wow.
some. Because as I was quite intentional as I was working, even though I was still selling a little bit in the other selling groups, I deliberately didn't sell my portfolio pieces into those selling groups because I was hoping I'd be able to sell those on graduation, and I did. So it
In the
was just
buyers, did you sell
insane.
them in the buyers club?
Yeah, it was insane. And then I started up my own group. And the second week after I graduated, I had done like a teaser. This is what I'm going to be selling this week. And I still have the screenshot on my phone of my email where, because when you sell something, Shopify sends you a notification.
Yeah.
And I am not kidding, the whole, like my whole phone like that was just taken up with you know, everything
Notifications.
sold. It was absolutely insane, nuts. I just could not believe. And it was within like 2 minutes, 5 minutes. It was crazy.
Okay, so you had already been working in other VA groups,
Yeah.
buy and sell groups where bloggers can connect with all different types of people.
Yes.
Um, and so what was the difference though for you? Did you notice a difference in like why join Pretty Focused if you were already doing that? Like what did you see in Pretty Focused? You're like, this is going to help my business do X, Y, and Z. Like what were you
Yeah.
hoping Pretty Focused would help you accomplish?
So I think I had stuff unsold in those groups, and I didn't
What?
quite understand why. And it wasn't until I came into Pretty Focus, and I remember like when I introduced myself, I think I put some photos of stuff I'd been trying to sell in the comments,
Yeah.
and you and Steph both like jumped onto the comments, and you knew straight away why it wasn't selling. So that was, you know, the difference in the VA groups. They can be very good for people starting out, but there is an absolutely enormous difference in the quality of the work. So
Yeah.
with the buyers club, the bloggers, they know that these photographers have been through the course. They have been shown exactly what to do. It's, you know, it can be a really long process for us to go through. And it's hard. It's really hard. And then you have to get all the feedback, and that's hard. You know, that can be hard to take sometimes, and you have to just keep going and trying to do better. And then you go
Yeah.
through your portfolio, and it's like a whole big, huge thing. And oh my goodness, I also still have the email from Kim where it said you've passed your portfolio review. And like, that was just, oh, I could cry. It was amazing. And I was like, I'm going to get in the buyers club, and I am going to sell my portfolio, and then I'm going to just work every week. And I want to sell out every week. And that is what I've been doing since. And it is just mind-blowing bonkers.
Oh my gosh. If you guys want to see Amy's work, Redonda helped us out by sharing the link in the comments. You've got to check out her work because it is absolutely stunning, and it's just gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. So, were you able to like raise your price from in the buyers
Oh,
club, or like how much
yeah.
more were you able to charge for your work being in the
Yeah.
buyers
So
club?
in the VA groups, I was charging 125 for an exclusive, and I now charge 425. So yeah.
Oh, that makes my heart hurt.
It's quite a lot. Yeah.
What? Oh my
I
gosh. And so that's why like in the other groups, and there are absolutely people who will join Pretty Focus, they don't graduate, they go into those other buy and sell groups. That is like that is fine, you know.
Yeah.
So we just our goal is just to help, you know, women create, you know, businesses working at home. So we would love people to join the buyers club.
Yeah.
So because of the fact that in those other groups, you will have cell phone photos for $45. And then the next post, you have something going for $300, right?
Yeah.
It's just so inconsistent.
Yeah.
And that hurts whenever you have somebody who's pushing, or you've got somebody with really, really great work struggling to sell at 125, right? And so
Yeah.
it's just so inconsistent in those other groups. What we have found in the buyers club is bloggers know that they're trained,
Yes.
and two is there's like a standard, a standard of quality and a standard of excellence. There's this bar that's been set, and honestly it just kind of keeps getting raised and raised.
Yes.
And so it's just, end up leaving money on the table
Yeah.
whenever, you know what I mean? So that is
Yeah.
insane.
It
Yeah.
is, honestly. It's like a pinch myself.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
because
Y-
it's mind-blowing.
Yeah. For Hannah, yes, she's talking about 425 for exclusives. In fact, have you two chatted? Because Farhana also has a background um,
I
in
think I
television.
knew
Okay.
I think she did video production or something along those lines. So,
Yeah. 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 So
yes.
I feel like you
Right.
guys have like a little bit similar start,
Yes.
which is so funny. It's like small world, right?
Yes.
Um, but here is another question. I'm a cookie or a home baker, just wanting to take better pictures of my personal baked cookies and not wanting to blog or be a food photographer. So I'm wondering if this is worth it for me. I'm a very small business just starting out and don't really have much money right now to play with. That's completely understandable.
Mm.
And we actually have 3 different tiers. So if you are, I would consider the our tier 1 or our camera foundations. Camera foundations is really just going to show you how to use your camera, how to set up in natural light, how to shoot in manual. Tier 1 gets into like how to photograph recipes and how to set that up with the composition. And honestly, I think that would help with the cookies too. Some of the things that we talk about of how you can research how to photograph those cookies and how to display it. We have people who have joined Pretty Focus who have their own baking courses, and they have taken Pretty Focus and they can take their own photos for their baking courses, and they use that. So yeah, so I think that it would be helpful. I don't think you need tier 3 unless you want to go through with the coaching, but like I said, we also have other options for you as well. So, Amy, this is a great question for you to answer. Is it a really crowded market for graduates?
I don't think it is, no, because there are tons of bloggers in the buyers club, but I very rarely my stuff very rarely makes it to the buyers club because I have my own group of people, and my group like grew from 0, and I think there's, I want to say, 350 bloggers in my own personal group now. So if I like I sell out every single week,
Mm-hmm.
and because there's that many bloggers and there's only one of me, so no, I don't think so. I don't think there are so many bloggers in that buyers club, and you don't just have to do exclusives or semi-exclusives. You can do recreation work as well. Every single week when my stuff goes out, I will have 5 to 10 people email me, please start doing recreations. There is a huge market for that as well. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just something that I personally choose not to do. But um, there's so much work. There is
Yeah.
so much work.
Yeah. So currently our stats are there's a ratio of bloggers to photographers. The ratio is 10-1. And I think it was 87% of our grads work with more than one blogger,
Oh yeah.
which I think is really cool. And so they work with more than one blogger, and I know bloggers work with more than one photographer as well.
Yeah.
So we haven't really seen that the market is oversaturated at all. 67 I know I can like throw off stats, pretty quickly. That's why, it's great to hear from a grad themselves is like 67% of our grads connect with clients within 3 days.
Yeah.
And 24% of our grads make six figures, and I think 63 make 50,000 or more. And so
Yeah.
those stats do not line up with like a market that's oversaturated.
No,
At
definitely.
all. So,
I wish I could clone myself and just do like, because I am at a point now where the more work I do, the more money I get. It's, and that can be a dangerous place because you become a workaholic.
yeah.
If I could clone myself, I could make more
Well,
money.
maybe you can just hire a developer to do the development.
Exactly. Melody, I am ready. I'm waiting. Like, give me your PayPal to all the developers because I want all your recipes. I'm going that for me, I was like, oh, I'm getting myself a couple of those. Be
Gonna
amazing.
get me a couple of those developers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how many exclusives are you doing right now currently?
So I try to, so on Mondays is my coaching day, and it's quite busy on a Monday. The students keep us very busy over the
Yes.
weekend. So I usually do one on a Monday morning and then do my coaching in the afternoon. Then Tuesday is my photo editing and writing up day. And then I could probably do another 6 Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I tend to do a lot of exclusives because that's what my people tell me that they want. Although I do semi-exclusives, I might do one set of semi-exclusives a week.
But your semi-exclusives, the recipe is the same. You still photograph it completely different.
I do. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you don't just make little tweaks. You do. It looks like an entirely different recipe, which is why your semis are some of the highest
Yeah.
prices because of that.
Yeah.
So
You can
that's
charge more
huge.
money. Yeah. Now, for me, doing a semi-exclusive is hugely time saving because, you don't have to write 2 different recipes up 2 or 3 times. And you can sell them for really good money, like $300 each. But I poll my clients really regularly and I ask them what they want, and I want to give my people what they want. And, let's say 80% of them want exclusives because they want that exclusive recipe. It's really important to them. And it's really important to me that I serve the people that are paying my bills.
Yeah, right?
So it's a
Yeah.
really huge thing. Whereas I could be doing tons and tons of semi-exclusives. I don't want to upset the apple cart. And I like doing exclusives as well. You can take your time a bit more, and I can be my creative self, which is also nice for me. But that's one of the reasons when I do a semi-exclusive, I do it completely different. Otherwise, I would just I'd be like, oh, I'm over these cookies now. They're just boring to me. I have to do it just completely different. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that though. I know Lindsay is in the same boat with needing a recipe developer as well. So I just love
Yeah.
hearing that our photographers are now like, I need a recipe developer so I can photograph more.
Yeah.
So can I ask you, like, compared to your editorial work, do you make more money now
Oh,
than you did
yeah.
then?
Loads more money. Loads more. A
So
lot. Like
what
5
are
times,
some
8 times more, I think I worked it out.
what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Some people say double.
Yeah, and it's a lot more.
It,
A lot more.
you
Because
may
you have to
you're like
factor
8
in,
times.
yeah, you have to factor in travel as well. So,
Yeah.
it's not cheap. It would cost, if I was to go to London on the train tomorrow, it would cost me £128. If I was getting paid like between 500 and 700. You've already lost 128 pounds plus all the money on the tubes and stuff. It is not cheap to travel around here. So I just want to be at home in my own space where it doesn't
Wow, when you think,
money.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, that's crazy, Amy. People usually like, yeah, I make, double. You're like, no, I make 8 times more than I
Yeah.
did doing editorial work.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Because I couldn't work as many days leaving my kids and going off to London. My husband also has a very full-time job. So it just, now I can work every single day from home, from my house, and make the use of every hour. You're not traveling for 2 hours a day. So imagine how much more money you can make just by not traveling anywhere.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
I know.
So what are some things, you've talked about freedom, you've talked about the flexibility. What are some things, like for your own family, like how is Pretty Focused helped your family? Like, what are some things that you've been able to do because of 8 times the income now?
So we live in the city at the moment, but I hate jinxing things, but our house is up for sale at the moment, and we have seen. I know, don't, because we have to sell our house and things. I don't know how things are for you over there, but the interest rates in the UK are just going crazy at the moment, and the housing market is going to have a bit of a crash, I think. So we just need to get sold. But we have seen our absolute dream farmhouse in the country, acres of land and an outside studio space. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But that is in our future. So because we can afford that now. And it
When
also means for my husband, because he works in construction, he has his own business as well. And every year he's like, I am not getting any younger. He gets up at 5 a.m. sometimes, goes out and he's working outside, and like it's hard on him. So I think he
yeah,
feels a bit like I can take a bit of a step back now as well.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Geez, like when you told me that, you've dreamed of that and you can see it becoming more of a reality, I didn't know that the wheels were already in motion to make that happen.
I know. I didn't want to say anything to just because the crushing disappointment when people are like, have you sold your house yet? And it's like, no. Melody's going to be scared to ask me now, but no, everything is crazy here in the UK at the moment. But even if we don't sell our house right now, then it's still in our future. Our estate agent said, I know you've seen somewhere and you want to get sold really quickly, but you will find somewhere else, but probably nowhere as perfect as the place that we have found, which is, oh my gosh, just a dream. We'll just
Oh
see
my
what.
gosh,
Yeah.
Amy, that's so exciting.
Yeah.
Well, we are rooting for you.
Thank you.
We're excited for you.
Yes,
Um, wow, that's so great. That's exciting.
it is.
Um, so we have some people who've asked some really great questions. Farhana always asks the best questions. She says, "Have you experienced burnout, and if so, how do you address it?"
So I'm quite good at taking time off. I always have time off during the school holidays, and my youngest daughter seems to have a lot of holidays. And I've just told myself that I work minimally during those times. I am definitely a workaholic. And I haven't got to the point yet where I'm like, I just simply cannot do any more, because I'm just so excited. I'm so motivated by growing my business. Like the possibilities just seem endless at the moment. So, I'm like, I'm here for it. I will be researching recipes, developing recipes early in the morning, late at night, so that I can get them shot the next day. But we do have a good work-life balance, my husband and I,
Yeah.
because he has his own business too. So we do have to rein it in and not work on weekends and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I just treat this like a full-time job. I drop my daughter at school at 7:30, and she does all sorts of clubs and things after school, and I go collect her about 5 o'clock. So I've got a long day, and I could probably do more, but I'm quite slow. So, and Redonda's exactly the same. So I'm like, she's messaging me like, I'm so slow. I'm like, Redonda, I'm really slow too, but
Yeah.
nod along. So I
Oh,
could probably do a lot more than I
yeah.
do
But
already.
it sounds like you have a good balance.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, what happens is that I see this certainly happened for me. Uh, I remember whenever I first started, it was like I sent off like 40 invoices within the first couple of weeks. And to go from, because I had just been in like this world of like, I'm just a stay, not just a stay at home, but mom, but I'm like a stay at home mom. I did like have like a little part time job, very very like half part time, quarter time.
Yeah.
Um, but I was like researching what are like ways that I can make money working at home, and I
Yeah.
like looked into like testing websites where you go to
Okay.
their website, you like check for the efficiency of it, kind of give your feedback. And I was like, okay, I can make $15 a website. So if I get in, five websites a day, that's, that
Yeah.
many dollars, and then times 5 days a week,
Yeah.
like I remember getting in being so disappointed that I was capped at like 2 websites a day.
Oh, no.
And Amy, the
Yeah.
disappointment, like that
Yeah.
heart sinking feeling of like, okay, well, I guess that's not going to be it.
Yeah.
My family needs more than that,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so whenever I found this and I sent off all those invoices, I was like, this is it.
Yeah.
This is what I've been made for. What I was like born to do. It was one of those moments for me. And I think that sometimes you can get caught up in that,
Yeah.
right? And you just get so excited about everything that you can do and that you can accomplish, and you just start saying yes to everybody because you're afraid to miss out, and you kind of just go on like this high. And I
Yeah.
think for Hannah, I think that if you're not careful, that's really how burnout can happen, because a lot of our grads, man, they'll have people contact them, they'll get going, and just 6 months fly by and they're like,
Yeah.
okay, whoa, something's gotta like,
Yeah.
okay, wow, like I can't believe that just went by. And so I would say just kind of keeping that mindset of really weighing that you don't have to say yes to everybody.
Mm.
You want to make sure that, you're doing trial recipes with people to make sure that you have found the right people that you work with. But
Yeah.
then also saying, you know what, it's okay for me to like put down the camera and walk away. I also didn't think that it was okay to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
It's
didn't think that it was okay.
complete.
I was like the workaholic too.
Right.
So, so I love hearing you talk about that. You're like, we do not work on the weekends.
No.
Like
No.
you can though, if you're a business owner, like it's easy, not can, it's easy to do that though.
Yes, it is. And I might do some planning. I keep so I have a Trello board of all the things that I want
Nice.
to make. So something might come in my brain like, oh, a Christmas cocktail, must put that on my Trello board. And then I start thinking about it. And I do stuff like that on the weekends, but I would never shoot a recipe on the weekend. And I don't
Yeah.
have deadlines. The only deadlines I have is that I post new things for sale in my group on Wednesdays at 4 p.m. UK time, so whatever time that is around the world. And I'll put out a little teaser the day before, this is what's coming up this week. Because if I don't do that, it will sell and then people will be disappointed. So that's the only deadline I'm working to at the moment, and it's amazing.
Yeah. Wow. And that's another reason why you like exclusives, is you're not working around other people's deadlines. Like with
Yeah.
recreations, you have deadlines. It's
Yeah.
not the end of the world, but it just gives you just a little bit more of
Yeah.
that flexibility. Can you tell us about your camera and setup?
Yes.
Like, do you shoot freehand, tethered? Tell
I
us all of it.
Yeah, sure. I use a Canon R5 mirrorless camera. My preferred lens is a 24 to 70 millimeter for overhead, which I use a C stand for all my process and ingredient shots, and that 24 to 70 millimeter lens. And then I will switch to freehand. And most of my hero shots are done with my 100 millimeter. And I do shoot tethered as well. I shoot tethered into Capture One, and then I cull my images as I'm going, and then I export them from, I know it sounds crazy, but I export them from Capture One into Lightroom because I'm just really fast in Lightroom. So, but Capture One is really good for tethering, and you can use overlays and stuff like that, and so it's useful for that, and it's probably really useful for editing too, but I'm not doing any of the courses at the moment, so
Yeah. Do you have you ever tried tethering right into Lightroom?
yes, it's a bit buggy for me. I'm
Okay.
not sure if that's like a Canon thing, because I know lots of Nikon people do. I know Lindsay does. I'm pretty sure Alicia does. So perhaps it's like a Nikon Canon thing. But
Interesting. Yeah.
yeah, but I do
Well, I
love
know
Canon, so
some of the new updates for Lightroom have been buggy for me. Like, it doesn't like my graphics card. On my laptop, it'll freeze, like the new denoise feature. Like, my laptop will freeze. Like,
yeah,
it's
that's
been
not
really
working.
buggy. It's been really frustrating for me. So it's
Oh, well, you
interesting.
learn Capture One editing then, and then you can teach me.
Okay. Okay. That's funny. Where do you see your business going in 5 years and beyond? What goals do you have? And like,
Well, I cannot, when we found out that Melody and Ivy were doing this recipe development course, I was like, this is amazing. So I want to be able to employ to maybe 3 recipe developers. That would free me up so much time. And just the fact that I wouldn't have to sit and write all the recipes out and the FAQs and work out the keywords and all of that stuff. So that would be my goal, would be to either hire a couple of recipe developers or just consistently buy recipes. I'm waiting for all your recipes. I cannot wait for you all to graduate because I'm going to buy them.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I can't like this so many like I'm really excited about this development course.
Yeah. It's going to be absolutely amazing for photographers and bloggers, but especially for people like me that just, I'm at that point now where where I'm earning enough money to hand off some jobs that I don't particularly, it's not my favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
So also, if we move to the dream house and I have my own studio, then I would like to have an assistant, like a real life person, which would be nice. And
Ivy
so,
has that.
yeah,
Ivy
I
has
know.
a real life assistant.
Yeah, and I'm
Amazing.
very jealous. So I want that. I'd like to be able to, employ people and hand off some of the stuff, not have to do absolutely. I would still do all the photography, but maybe just have somebody help me just preparing things and maybe like doing my shopping for me because that takes time, clearing up and stuff. So I've got enough work that I could give somebody a full-time role in real life.
Mhm.
So just to grow my team like that would be amazing. And I can definitely see myself doing this in 5 years. I my husband and I have talked. So my youngest is 10. So in 5 years she'd be 15. So let's say another 8 years, 9 years she'd be at university, probably. And at which point my husband and I are like, we could actually go anywhere, hire an Airbnb for a couple of months, pack up all my stuff. I could do 1 or 2 jobs a week, just to keep us in coffee money and stuff like that.
Wow.
So that would be like the long-term plan would be
Wow.
to have enough, to have enough money in the bank that and have the house so we don't have to keep working towards that. Um,
Yeah.
have enough money in the bank and just, keep ticking over just a couple of jobs a week. But
Yeah.
that's probably more like a 10-year plan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. That's perfect. Um, I love that you're like this is your plan and you're going to see this plan, this is what you're going to do until that. I can't wait to see how you grow and scale your business because I really think in order to grow and scale, you have to hire people and you
Yeah.
kind of have to replace yourself and multiply yourself.
Yeah.
Um, but so we also have somebody, one of our grads, like her long-term plan is to like get her master's in psychology, I think. But
Okay.
she's using Pretty Focused to help her meet that goal.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And so I think it's really neat that there's people who are like you who are in this for the long game, right? You're like, I'm just going to do this until it's time to retire.
Yeah.
And then there's people who are like, I'm going to use this uh, to help me get to another goal, a bigger goal that she has
Yeah.
for her. And I
That's
just
amazing,
love
isn't it?
hearing that. I love hearing like you and Ivy are like you're, growing and scaling your business. And then we have, Alicia, who we talked to a couple months ago, and she's like, I just want to work during nap time. Like I
Right.
need to work and I only want to work during nap time. And she is not going to work outside of nap time.
That's
And
amazing, isn't it? I love
it
that.
it is so to have this broad like I'm going to only work during nap time to
Yeah.
I want to grow and scale my business. And then having people who have zero experience 5 months ago and then who join and then having people join um, who are doing editorial photography, who are award-winning photographers.
Yeah.
Like it, I think what is so special about Pretty Focus is that it really meets everyone right where they're at
Yeah.
and helps them meet their needs, whatever those may be.
Definitely.
And that's
Yeah.
what every time I have a grad interview and every time I talk to our grads, that is what I hear is that it is literally choose your own adventure. You can make it into what you want it to be. And I love what it is has allowed you to be able to do
Oh gosh,
in those dreams.
I try not to cry and get emotional because I know that when I was going through the process of becoming a coach, like we would have these chats, wouldn't we? And like you were kind of interviewing me to check that I was going to be the right person. And talking about it then just made me so emotional because when I say it has changed my life, I am so sincere and I cannot thank you enough for what you have done. And I know that there are going to be people watching that have graduated and gone through this. And, you know, you people try and sell you this dream, don't they? I've paid money for other courses that have tried to sell me the dream of, you know, having like the best blog, or whatever.
Right,
And
right.
yeah, and it's not true, it's not real, but this is real. Like it honestly changed my life. My whole life changed. Every part of my life changed, and I am so grateful. And that's one of the reasons I love being a coach, because when these new students come in, I'm like, this is so exciting. You know, somebody joined a couple of days ago and she was like, I'm a real estate photographer. And I was just like, that's so cool. But you're going to learn how to shoot tutorial based food photography now. And you're going to be like, all of these students, we see them coming in at whatever level they're at. And the journey, like the difference from start to finish, is insane. And the number of lives, Melody, that you have changed with this is, I'm just so grateful to you, and I couldn't be happier. I'm in such a good place. Thank you. Thank
Now
you.
you're gonna make me cry. I
No.
love it. I love it. When we started this, you know, it was just like a way for like women to make supplemental income from home,
Yeah,
and to see what it has turned into for so many, that I have just learned to not put expectations in a box,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
And just because people are capable of so much.
Yeah, and you have
And
to work really hard, and it is hard. You know, all of this is hard. It's hard whatever level you are, because you're learning a completely new skill, but
yeah,
it really
gosh,
does feel like, it feels at the moment that the possibilities are just like, where's this going to go? And
yeah,
yeah, I've been looking for something for years that was actually going to make me some serious money, because I'm a hard worker.
yeah,
And I felt like I just needed a break, and I really got my break. Like,
yeah. Seriously,
yeah,
seriously, you know, I love that. I know that feeling of like, this is what we've been waiting for. Like, this
yeah,
is like, because you have goals, and you have the dreams of what it is that you want to accomplish, but you know, with what you have right now, it's not going to be enough to get you there, right?
yeah,
But when you're then presented with that, I don't know, that light, that it's a life-changing opportunity, right? To where you're like, I can actually now, I c- those goals are no longer just a dream.
yeah,
We actually have things in place to be able to achieve those goals. I know what that feels like personally. And
yeah,
so I love hearing that you're like, we finally have that in
yeah.
place to be able to get our dream farm in the English countryside. That's like a dream.
I know. We'll see.
Oh my gosh.
It's very
Oh,
exciting.
it is so exciting. And I love this interview. People like, um, you have real life friends. Farhana wants to have virtual coffee with you.
Oh, yes.
Um, a British, a British cup of tea. I'm sorry, a cup of tea.
Yes, and
Um,
stones. Absolutely.
and scones. Yes. Um, and this has just been so
Well done, babe.
inspiring, just to hear from you. And you're so skilled and you're so talented. And um, like as a grad, it's amazing, and we're excited for you. As a coach, we just love having you as a coach.
Thank
Um,
you. I love
you know,
it.
I think that it's really cool to hear from our coaches, and to know that that you guys are working in the field. You're still
Yeah,
working in the industry. You're working to grow and scale your own business, yet you said yes to coaching these students.
yeah,
Like, you believe in it so much that you said, yes, I'm going to take time out of my schedule
Yeah.
because I want to see this happen for all of these other people.
Yeah. And I truly believe that a rising tide lifts us all.
Yeah.
And for these photographers to, or perhaps they're aspiring photographers or professionals, but for them to come through and for us all to be on the same page is a really big thing for me,
Yeah.
because um the the level, if we're all at this level, then it's going to be good for everybody. So I want to get
Absolutely.
everybody like up here. I don't want you selling your stuff in VA groups for $75. I want you selling it in the buyers club for
Yeah.
way, way, way more than that, because you are worth more than that.
Yeah, Amy, that's it. That is a beautiful and such a refreshing mindset for you to be like, you being up here is better for everybody. Because a lot of people see that and they're like, oh, they start comparing, they get
Yeah,
competitive, and they start taking shortcuts to get there, right? And so, but to hear you say that when you do well, I do well. Whenever
yeah,
I do well, you do well, right?
yeah,
And so I think, you being able to charge as much as you do just kind of helps everybody else kind of come up behind you.
yeah. I
Um,
want you all charging that. And if you
yeah,
want to know anything, I will tell you. There's no secrets. That was another big thing about Pretty Focus. Like, these coaches, they were telling us, Redonda was like, you need to do things like this, and all of the coaches were telling us what they did to get to be successful. And I want to give that back. If you want to know something, I will tell you. And I'm not, there's no secrets.
yeah,
We're going to show you
yes,
exactly how to get there.
yes, I love that. Um, I don't just want a community, Amy. Here's what I want. I want there to be just this movement,
Yeah.
right? I heard this guy talk about, he's like, he pulled up at a stoplight, he looked over, and this guy's wearing this Harley Davidson tattoo. He's got a Harley Davidson tattoo, somebody else's logo on tattooed permanently on their arm. And he was like, that
Wow.
is not just a brand, that's a movement,
Yeah.
right? And so
Yeah.
I was like, I don't just want a course. I don't just want a community. Like, I want a stinking movement,
Yeah.
right? Of where we just have this, yes, this community of women and entrepreneurs, and we have men in our group and who are
Yes.
grads too, who are doing amazing. So this movement of individuals who are just there to love, to serve, and to support one another, because I think we need more of that in this world, right?
Me too. Yeah.
And so I just like, that's what I want. Like, so
Yeah.
you guys here, like, I want a movement, and you guys are part of that. And you, as coaches and as students who are here listening, like, you're part of this movement, of creating this movement, going from a community to, like, we're not just going to stop there. Like,
Yeah.
we want more
Yeah.
for Pretty Focused, right? It's not just a course. You're not just going to learn photography, right? You're going to be a part of something really, really special.
Yeah. And it's huge. And it's the industry standard. That's what you have to know when you come into this. You are going to be at the absolute pinnacle of the industry standard. And we are setting the rules almost. We're setting the prices. And
Yeah.
that's how it's working now, because you are going to come in and you're going to be right at the very, very top.
Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Yeah. I love it. You guys, thank you so much for joining. I mean, we can go on, can't we? Like,
Yeah.
on and on, but I know it's getting late there. I know your
It's
husband's out with the
light.
two girls.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
But this has been such an incredible conversation, interview with you, just to hear your perspective about the industry and pricing, and just to hear your heart, um, as as a grad, but as a coach too. I just think that you kind of give people, and I know our coaches are in the comments too, commenting, because they're amazing. They're just amazing.
I
Um,
love our team so much. It's so fun to be part of a team.
Yes.
Even though I'm
Yeah.
in a different time zone, like, and it's really great that I get to have these people over in the States that I can ask things, because it's
Like
different.
fork and knife. Our conversation last night was killing me. You were like, I can't sleep until you tell me. I could hear it, the accent in my head. Like you couldn't sleep until you knew how we ate with a fork and a knife.
Because
That
I
was
just was absolutely staggered that that's even a thing. I was on, we should probably explain, but I was up late and I was on Facebook and I really want to see the new film Oppenheimer. And so there was like a thing about it. And then some guy had put, okay, but it's really annoying when a British actor plays an American and then gets the knife and fork wrong. And I was like, wait, what? So I come onto our group chat and I was like, ladies, what? How do you do knife and fork? I need to know. I cannot go to bed until I understand this. But yeah, apparently we eat very differently over here or in Europe.
I wouldn't have even well, now I know, but now I'm just like, what do you guys do? Do you put because you keep your knife in your right hand, the fork in
Knife
your
in the
left?
right, fork in the left. So we would
Cut,
cut and
cut,
then
and then
mhm.
and we put the knife down, change hands. Who would have thought Americans would make things more difficult? Create more work for ourselves.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
hilarious.
So now I'm just going to try that next time I eat. I'm just going to
Yeah.
keep them both in one hand. And you said knives come out even if you're eating soup or
Yeah,
a
it's
rice
weird.
dish,
It's
right?
it's so weird. And so you just lay the table and you have your knife and fork and your spoon or whatever, and then in those instances you're okay to actually swap the fork into your right hand and then just put the knife away because you didn't use the knife, obviously, because it's rice, or if you used a spoon for soup or something. It's crazy.
Well,
But I
I
didn't
love
realize that wasn't a thing everywhere. Like it's kind of weird
if
to me.
if so you would look at somebody and be like, why did you just switch hands? That's
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, yeah. But it is weird.
Well,
Or is it?
or is it? Or maybe that's
Maybe we're the
so
weird ones.
so funny. Oh my gosh. I love that. You guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Our course is open for enrollment. We will, like, we're like at that sellout point. So if you are wanting to join, I would make sure that you enroll now. So it's been really great to see the last 4 months we've sold out every single month. There's so many people who are like, yes, like that is what I want to do. That is what I was meant to do. So the movement, you guys,
Join
is
us.
only just beginning.
Yes.
So we hope that you guys will join our community and join us for this. Join us. So, all right, we will talk to you guys later. Bye.